Hey Saab peeps, Saab stirs. This is QS coming at you. Super quick video, Christmas Eve. Having the whole ABS brake triangle with the exclamation point in the middle holiday light thingy going on in my cluster. So what I did was I removed the ABS module, which is right here. Okay, the botch. For my particular Saab 2004 Saab 95 Arc Wagon 2.3 turbo, the model number, part number is 023004-701. They say that this model and the 2003 model is complicated. I think the last three digits of the 2003 number is 514, but we're gonna see. Okay, hopefully it takes care of everything. So here is the module. It was covered up. So I mailed it off on Wednesday and it came back to me. Let's see. I mailed it off Tuesday and it came back to me on Friday. All right. So I'm just going to walk you through the stages of how I took it apart. So the first thing I did was disconnected the negative battery cable and then the positive, right? And you have your 11 millimeter to do that, your 11 millimeter socket, okay? And then obviously, well, first thing, yeah, and then obviously the support, stability support for the battery, which is right here. That's a 13 millimeter socket, okay? And then this 10 millimeter socket takes the bottom. I'm in a rush because I have like a couple of things to get from the supermarket to cook for Christmas dinner. So when you take out your, when you remove all your bolts and screws, just make sure you put them in one area so that you'll but separate them so you don't get them confused. Well, once you work on your car a certain number of times, you'll kind of figure out what is what. But I just like I'll put these screws in my tool case, and then like I'm working on my replacing my spark plugs, so I removed the DIC, the direct engine cassette, and I put those screws over here in my little my smaller toolkit, along with the screws for the ABS module, which is a T20 if I'm not correct, and I'll let you know and give you an update if that changes. Okay, so gotta remove this little fuse. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have to lay the phone down for a second, but you can look at me, right? Not saying that you want to, but just trying to keep you entertained while I'm doing this. Oh, yeah. Okay, so just be real careful, especially if you have an older model, because you don't want to, it's easy to break stuff. And just like try to get the dust out of everything. So there you go. I removed this. I disconnected this little fuse box from the battery support. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to remove these bolts from the fuse box, because you got to move this aside a little bit. You don't have to take it completely out. So that's a 10 millimeter. That's a 10, yeah. And so I didn't make it really tight because I knew that I would be coming back to this. All right. Just be real careful. Like sometimes you have those magnetic tool removers, because I lost one of my screws and I have to find it, or somehow or another find another PC, and I'm putting this right there. And now there's two more on this bracket here. Once you remove the module, it's really simple to put it back together. See, I dropped one, and so I have to be really careful to pick that one up, or else it's a goner. Okay, so be careful. I wish I had like a tripod, but I don't. So anyway, here you have your expansion tank, which I just replaced. I got a new one because I noticed there was a little leak in the crevices, and it still appears to be one. So it might not have. My expansion tank actually did need it replacing because it had so much cooking. It was just nasty. And then you see how clear the coolant looks, or not clear, but it's like, you know, the original orangey pinkish color. But I might actually need to, because I see a tiny little leak right here. And what I do, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but what I do when I remove hoses and replace them is I put these on it, new clamps, hose clamps, just because you know, a lot of them can get old, and then the other ones are just not really like this one. A lot of the older clamps look like this, and they're just not really user friendly. Okay, so anyway, back to what we were doing. So this piece lays on the engine, and I just kind of saw it sitting there, and I never noticed that before. But I tried to plug it in somewhere, and I think I did a boo-boo, so I'm putting it back where I found it. It wasn't plugged into anything. It was just kind of sitting around. If anybody happens to know if this is supposed to be plugged into somewhere, let me know, because as far as I know, I don't know where it belongs. Okay, and I never noticed that before, as many times as I've moved this battery out, and as long as I've had this car. Okay, all right, so now you just slide that out the way, lift this up, and just kind of let it fall back. And so here's your connector piece that goes to the module. All right, and so this goes to the module. And when you're taking it apart, you have to make sure you pull this out, okay? Otherwise, you'll be trying to pull this, and it won't move, and you don't want to break it. So just make sure you either use a flathead or your fingers and just glide it out. Mine was pretty easy to glide out, but if yours is a little stuck, or if it's gotten wet or anything like that, or gotten anything in it, it might be a little bit more difficult to pull out. So just be easy when you do that, as well as this piece, because I broke this little piece, this little clip off. It'll still work, but it's better to have all your pieces. So there's my little bolt there, and let's see, I have these magnetic what am I getting, the T20. Okay, so here's your T20 Torx, and this just happens to be magnetic, and so I'm going to pull this out slowly. I'm not so confident here, and then drop it over there. Okay, so now just make sure, like, when you're removing it, you wrap it real good so it doesn't get any yucky stuff in it. And I'm just going to blow it because I see a little bit of dust. But I know these little prongs, they're easy. I mean, you know, anything electrical, you don't want a whole lot of dust getting to it, but there was some dust on it anyway. I usually have a hand vac, and I'll like vacuum everything, but it should be okay. So now what I'm gonna do is let you see my face for a little while, okay? Because they wrap it up real good, and I suggest, like, you cover it up like they did. I did the same thing when I mailed it off. Like, I used a piece of I cut a piece of cardboard, and I laid it on these prongs. I laid it over here. Okay, that's what it looks like. And now I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna try to do the best I can to let you see what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna fit it in here, nice and gentle. Which, this thing is in the way, so I'm gonna just put the phone down again, okay? But just take your time and do it, because you don't want to mess it up. And I feel like a little bit of pressure here because I'm making this for you guys. And I don't want you to be like just watching my arm or nothing, but you're just gonna have to watch nothing for a minute. Okay, so it was pretty straightforward. It went right back in there. All right, so there you have it. It's right back in there.